The dogs are allowed to be there.
Let me show you one picture.
What's it of?
The sign that says dog area.
Okay, but where's the boundary? No, don't just tell me, okay, I'll look at your picture, but where's the boundary? I can have an area that has two different uses. And I can say this is a dog area that may be opposed to another area way away. This is where you have to take your dog. You're making up your own rules. And I'm telling you, that's not the way it works.
That's the way it's been working for 20-some years.
Okay, then it stops today.
Were to arise, we would waive any claim that a conflict exists.
Thank you. Thank you. The court, for its part, does not believe there's a conflict either. The Michigan court rules other cases decided they are good. To the extent a conflict does exist, given the waivers, court will consent to hear. Court does call the case of the People versus Wardell Smith.
Rob Dowd, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, Rob J. Kill on behalf of Mr. Wardell Smith. Wardell, would you state your name for the record?
Yes, Wardell Smith Jr.
Thank you.
Judge, today's time of day for a pretrial on this matter. Can we set this for a final settlement conference?
All right. Jury final settlement conference will be set June 5th, 2026 at 8:30. Jury selection, at 9 a.m. Jury selection, if necessary, will be June 8th, 2026, 8:30.
Judge, what was the first date? I apologize, you cut out.
June 5th.
All right, thank you.
All right.
There is a chance that Ms. Zenda will be refiling the assault, great bodily harm, less than murder, but I won't tell the court if that happens.
All right. Very good. All right. Thank you.
Wardell, I'll come and see you, Wardell.
Okay.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you. Court does call the case. People versus Tanya Pawa.
Rob Dowd, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sam Bernstein with and on behalf of Ms. Pawak. Is that your name?
Tanya Baba.
Your Honor, can we please set this for a final settlement conference?
Jury final settlement conference, June 5th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Jury selection, if necessary, June 8th, 2026 at 8:30. Both of those proceedings are in person.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. On continue. Court calls case People versus Jackson Sturtevant.
Rob Dowd, Assistant Attorney on behalf of the people.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Mr. Sturtevant, Your Honor. Please introduce yourself.
Jackson Sturtevant.
Sorry. What are we doing?
Your Honor, I'm requesting an adjournment. We're trying to resolve the case without going to trial.
Turn the matter to next date. Oh, you need more than a week.
Is that enough time for you to think about it?
No.
How long you need? May 18th. Thank you.
Matter to May 18th, 2026, 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continue. Court calls case People versus Alan Anderson.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Mr. Anderson, but not with.
Alan Anderson.
He's not in custody, Your Honor.
Right. And the last time defendant was here, he admitted to the violations. And probably should have kept him. Bench warrant will issue for defendant's failure to appear. Bond will be set in the amount of $10,000. Give a 10% privilege on that. The warrant will issue immediately. Court calls case of the People versus Eric Buckner.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Mr. Buckner, Your Honor.
Buckner, can
How
you state your
doing?
name?
Eric Buckner. All right, Eric Buckner.
Teresa Blair on behalf of probation, Your Honor, Mr. Buckner is before the court for a review hearing. Mr. Buckner is in compliance with the court's order accepting his payments plan. $132. So I'll take the court, Mr. Buckner, he has got probation aware of his financial status. He was out of work for some time. He had some medical issues due to an injury with a dog bite.
Hold on just a second. Mr. Buckner, you'll need to turn back on your camera, please. Go ahead, Ms. Blair.
That the court, I think, was aware of. Mr. Buckner has began part-time employment. He's working at McDonald's, but it's only on a part-time basis. He did get behind on his bills and had his power off. That power has been turned back on. It was off for 3 or 4 days. Given all the circumstances at this time, probation is asking that Mr. Buckner pay that arrearage of $132 by May 29th. Then keep up with a payment plan of $66 per month. And then he continue with all other orders that was set by this court, with the next review hearing being set August 3rd, 2026 at 1 p.m.
All right.
No objection if you don't have any, Mr. Buck. Your microphone's muted.
Mr. Buckner?
No, I don't have any objections.
All right, you'll be able to make that 132, get yourself back on track by the end of the month?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then I'll order the defendant pay the $132 arrearage. He's to pay that by May 29th, 2026, then $66 per month thereafter. Continue all terms as previously ordered. I'll set the next review hearing for August 3rd, 2026, 1 p.m. All right. Thank you, Mr. Buckner.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You do the same. Court calls the case of the people versus Darnett Blackwell.
Rob Dowd, prosecuting attorney on behalf of the people.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Mr. Blackwell, Your Honor.
Claire, on behalf of probation, Your Honor, Blackwell was scheduled before the court for a review hearing. He is told probation pending all conditions with the next review hearing being set August 3rd, 2026 at 1 p.m.
That objection, so ordered.
No objection.
Court calls the case people versus Robert Lewis Jones.
Rob Dowd, prosecuting.
Teresa Blair, on behalf of probation, Your Honor, Mr. Jones was scheduled before the court for a review hearing. He is compliant with the terms ordered by the court, and I did wait. Probation's recommended the final review hearing being set August 31st, 2026 at 1 p.m.
That objection, so ordered. Court calls the case people versus Juan Osorno.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Mr. Osarno.
Claire, on behalf of probation, Your Honor, Mr. Orsano was scheduled before the court. He is compliant with the terms ordered by the court. I did wait here. Probation is recommending that all conditions. The final review hearing being set August 3rd.
Your station's up.
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I'm good. Court does call the case. Town Center Place versus Melvin.
Morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Judge. May it please the court, Mark Wasbury for plaintiff.
Your name? Let's let her get the. Okay. Hey, Ms. Melvin, can you state your name, please, for me?
Sigrid Margaret.
Thank you. All right, this is plaintiff's motion for a default and request for an order to reinstate the case and issue a judgment and order of eviction. Correct?
Mr.
All right. And what's the basis of that?
Well, Judge, we entered into a CD. Ms. Melvin agreed to not throw things off her balcony. At the time, we were talking about mice, but now this time we received a complaint from another resident that she threw dirt off her balcony. I attached the email to the cups of dirt, several cups of dirt onto this resident and her dog. She was just outside below Miss Melvin's balcony, and I mean, that's worse than throwing mice off, I think.
Okay, there were two issues, I thought. One was the dirt, and then
So there was chicken underneath the balcony, which the dog rancid. There was an earlier incident where her dog ate chicken that was underneath the balcony, got sick. But and the other issue was when, on the day that it's alleged that she threw dirt down on the dog and this resident, there was also food underneath the balcony. And when asked about it, there was also food under her apartment, and Max had eaten something. I asked her what it was, and she said she did not have to tell me. That's in the March 24 email correspondence from the resident to my client.
got it. All right, but with regard to, I guess, the food product, I'll call it, it was underneath the balcony area, but we don't know whether or not Miss Melvin did anything.
Well, certainly February, the earlier incident, there was no contact that I'm aware of between the other resident and Miss Melvin. There was some back and forth, according to this email, on the March 23rd date where Miss Melvin indicates, I don't have to tell you what it is. I would think somebody would respond if they didn't put it, I don't know, right? So,
Right.
So I guess so. It's all throwing dirt down on somebody is certainly a serious incident, especially all agree that nothing will be thrown off the balcony.
All right, Melvin, what do you want to tell me? Oh, when did that come in? When did you send that?
That was when you came in. You came in to respond to the expectation to come back here.
I don't believe we received a copy.
I don't have a copy.
Fine.
It was put in the file.
It was put in the court file?
Yes. It's.
Do we have a copy?
I haven't seen.
Yeah, well, let me see it just to see if I can recognize it.
It was added in.
Okay, that was from you. Did Mr. Westbury, did you get a copy of it?
We have this one.
Because it was entitled Affidavit of Default Request for Order of Reinstatement. But I don't. Okay, I saw this, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of this.
Have extra copies. We'll give it to you.
Okay, well, you have an extra copy. Why don't we get one to Mr. Because what I have here, when I looked at this, was there were photos on it, but then it looks like part of a policy that's stricken through. Is that? Well, there are lines that are like there's asterisks or large asterisks next to certain provisions.
That was aiming to what I had said at the bottom. I had a copy of it in there, but
Right, but okay, what am I supposed to make of this? I mean,
this is a response to their complaint about the food, the dog.
all right, let me stop for a moment. Let's break it apart because there's the first part of the food, and I'm not sure that. Let me ask you this: was there some dirt thrown off the balcony?
Those water, a lot of watering pot.
It was what?
A watering pot. She was trying to discourage the dog because the dog was running loose through the garden. When the dog should have been on a leash. It also says in here that the building limit on dogs is 20 zones. That's even for therapy animals. So the dog shouldn't, well, the dog was up running loose and everything before the owner came and put it on the leash.
Okay, so couple things. What kind of dog is it?
I have this here.
There's a picture.
This is
I see it. They see a marijuana. That's okay.
There is a.
So is the picture with the dog, is that the dog's owner?
It's an accommodation.
Pardon?
My client tells me the dog is by way of an accommodation.
Okay. Got it.
Required to be on a leash when, areas. According to the handbook.
Okay, so I'm to understand what is being said to me. The dog wasn't on a leash. And so before the water happened, what was the dog doing?
Through the garden area, backyard.
Doing what? No.
Poop and pee on the garden bed. The garden club doesn't want the dog pooping and pee in the bed there. No, it's supposed to be on.
Okay, so let's assume, for the sake of argument, all of that's true. Wouldn't the response be to write a letter to management asking that? Because if you had written a letter to management, the part in here about the size of the dog and likewise, they would have told you what they said today, and that is that it was somehow an accommodation that was done for the dog, which then it would excuse it from the policies. So, and then you would have given management an opportunity to do something prior to engaging in some type of self-help.
I did talk to management. I went down and explained what happened.
No, but before the water.
But I
mean, if I take it to an extreme, you can't, because somebody else might be breaking the rules, you can't all of a sudden decide the dog's running through there and decide I'm going to shoot the dog because they're breaking the rules. I realize that's not what happened here, but you can't. when people begin to engage in self-help to rectify problems, that's where we get into difficulties. Okay, and so was there a letter sent to management
That situation, no.
about the dog running through and peeing and everything?
Her response in the conversation was that the dog had full reign over the whole yards. And we got to the relationship between the complex and my mile when it fall on deaf ears. They don't even.
Well, whether or not it falls on deaf ears or not, I don't know if that's the issue. The issue really is, was management communicated with regarding this issue or problem?
Just talked to her, and it's like you should have dumped the water, you know.
Pardon?
I told her it's like it wasn't a great idea, but it, you know, nothing dangerous. She was just trying to discourage the dog.
I get all of that. So there was no communication to management about the problem that with the dog. Okay. So now my question is how many times is this dog in the garden area?
Yeah,
Briefly.
the dogs have an area behind the community home where they're supposed to do their business. And they're not supposed to come in front of the building where our gardens are, and for the windows from the apartments are right there, but the dogs go underneath them, and some of them do run loose. Matter of fact, right now they got a note on the door going to the backyard, take care of your pet poop.
Mhm.
Management is aware that the dogs are about the run rules. Oh, I just, they're not gonna be like the problem. You know, put her in the rules.
Okay, was there a particular thing with this dog that's the problem, or is it a bunch of dogs that are the problem?
Well, Tammy's dog running. Is it more than Tracy's dog running around or what?
Now they're running through the gardens. We got 40 garden boxes put up by the own home.
Oh, I get the garden boxes.
That she does pick it up. But
She does clean it up.
Go ahead.
You said when the dog poops, she cleans it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
not all the time.
But some of the time she does.
Well, I'm out there watching the dog. I got better thing to do in 24 hours. I got all this paperwork to take care of. And this is put out the March news in 2024. Stop throwing trash, food, cigarettes in the back courtyard at Tide and Brook. This is from March 2024.
It's not a continuous issue with.
Who is that from? Management. So management was telling the residents not to do certain things.
Right.
Okay. So,
We consider.
okay, no, I believe you. It's just, let me ask you this. Did you put food out there?
No, I don't put food out there.
Okay,
That was since 2006.
I remember.
Problem before.
Okay, Miss Melvin, hold on. I just asked you a question. You didn't, it's okay. You didn't put food out there that the dog ate. I know it sounds like a weird, I just need you to tell me yes or no. Did you put food out there?
No, I don't put food out. there.
Okay, all right.
Because it's,
Well, just no.
no.
Okay, all right. How long would, when you threw the water, How long was it that the dog was out there?
Well, the dog runs through that. When I,
Is he outside?
Hmm?
How long was he out there running through the garden?
yesterday,
No, when you poured the water.
when the dog is over there, I'm on.
How long was he running around the yard? How long was he running around the yard? Half hour?
They usually out there 10, 15 minutes, in the whole big yard. So.
Okay. And so it's true that there's an area for pets that's separate and apart.
It's one big area, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Are the dogs allowed in where the garden boxes are?
It's all in. It's not blocked off or anything.
Okay. Are they? I get it's not blocked off. Are the dogs supposed to only use one part of the area or no?
No.
Okay.
There's pictures in there showing the designated dog area. There is.
Well, but hold it. You're saying there's a designated dog area. How's it designated?
Says dog area.
Okay, I guess that would do it. But does it block off a certain area or
It's got the green post out there with
it's got a what?
green post with a basket with the bags to pick up the do.
Yeah.
And like I said.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm asking is, in your mind, is it blocked off? Is that area blocked off from the garden area?
No.
Okay.
Does say in the rules that the dogs must be on the leash when they're in the. Which means somebody has walked them through the area. When the designated area is at the ends.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When you threw the water, was the dog off the leash?
Yeah.
It was? Okay. And
but I don't pull,
He's thinking.
go ahead. What were you gonna say, Miss Nolan? What were you gonna say?
I don't pour a whole bucket on the dog. When I water my plants, some of it, when I go from one part to another, might drop down. So the dog doesn't get wet, but probably barely gets a drop on it. I don't stand out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When the water got on the dog, were you downstairs or were you on your balcony?
On the balcony.
Okay, so you're watering your plants, you see the dog going through and you throw some water.
Well, my balcony is on the third floor. The dog
Right.
is on the first floor.
Right.
And under the balcony. But on the first floor,
Okay,
the
Right.
balcony is over.
I got
If
you.
the dog is underneath there, he's probably gets a drop of water. So it's not like I'm turning on the water hose. I like the dog.
Okay, Ms. Bowman, I'm not. You didn't say you took out a garden hose or a fire hose and got the dog. I'm not saying any of that. Okay. You just said something and I was gonna kind of go there. Do you have a problem with the dog at all?
What are your issues with the dog?
I don't have an issue with the dog. He's a nice German Shepherd, 150 pounds. And when I see him, I'm touching him and he lets me pet him.
Okay,
I don't,
all right.
No, I don't.
So-
do animals.
Okay, no, I'm not saying you do. That's why I had to ask the question. Some people do and some people don't. My next question to you though is who's the owner of the dog?
Tracy Stacy.
All right. Let me ask you this. Give me an honest answer. Do you like her?
Yeah. Matter of fact, she's from Grand Blanc and lives in Corners Four, where he used to live. So we have a kind of link connection.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's the president of our residence council right now.
Okay.
So, no, I don't really have any issues with any of our attendants. Some of them are clearly, well, I stay away from them. And right now, we have a lot of old people that don't even come out of their apartments. That's how scared they are. We can't even turn on the TV in the community room. She won't put it in the clicker.
Let's stick to the matter at hand.
The clicker is still an issue? Never mind. Don't answer. Okay.
Can I respond to something?
Sure.
I'm told this is a support animal. We can't tell a resident that the support animal is not allowed to go somewhere.
Right.
There in the document that was presented to the court, now I have a copy of it, there's an admission that, please note, water in watering can was used to deter animal away from the garden area. The garden area is a convenience, an amenity for the residents. We don't have to put the garden area in, but we do. So the fact that maybe dogs, I don't know if they're going in there or not, but if they are, residents should be cleaning up after them. They sure should, but goes back to we shouldn't throw stuff off the balcony 3 floors up to control the dog that's of no danger to her at that moment. She says she likes the dog.
Yeah,
What is an accommodation dog, or it's just there?
I don't hate the dog just because he runs that away.
I'm sorry, sir.
Do they mean by an accommodation dog?
Under the Americans with Disabilities Act and other provisions, if someone needs an emotional support animal or the like, then the animal, then they're entitled, provided they meet certain criteria to have that animal. And so that animal, like they said, if I've got a weight restriction of 20, but that person is entitled to have that support animal, then they can't enforce the 20 pounds.
Be curious to see that.
Well, I don't know.
I can imagine her issues large. Pretty stable person.
Well, sir, I'm not going to get all into it because there are various reasons why people may have support animals. It can be an emotional support animal, so that obviously would be something from the outside that you wouldn't see. It's not like it's somebody who is sight impaired and they would have an animal. That's an easy one that you can kind of figure out. But there are other issues in terms of emotional support and other things.
There.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It could be.
So therapy animals are restricted to 20 pounds or less too.
No. So, sir, you can sit up there and argue that all you want. If they're telling me that there's an accommodation for that dog, you can argue it, you're going to lose it. And I'm not going to get into a big debate about whether or not that animal can be there. If the animal has an accommodation, if the person has the accommodation to have that animal, they're entitled to have that animal. Period.
Okay.
Miss Melvin, here's what I'm going to do on this. Is there anything else for me to say?
No, thank you, Judge.
Well, this is supposedly our seventh meeting on the subject. And I would request to have a
Seven.
appointed by a representative.
About our 10th meeting, but that's okay.
I would listen to what he says first. I would listen to what he said. I would listen to what he was going to say first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Was there anything else you want to tell me about the water and the dog?
Like I said, I don't drop the bomb water on him, and then if I'm out on my balcony watering my plants, and he's right under the balcony down here,
Yeah, but he's
I drop a couple drops on him. So I don't do it out of hatred or any of those other motivation human being have or make up.
okay.
I've been there since
That was 6.
I never had to go to court with any kind of issue since she came into the office.
Yeah.
And they started with mice in April 23, 25. He reported me that.
Let's just stick to the issues at hand.
Okay.
You have no.
All right. So, Ms. Melvin, here's how this is going to work. Here's how this is going to work. That the animal that's there is by the plaintiff's testimony, a support animal. So there's not a whole lot that can be done. Here's the issue. Also, as I'm understanding it, the pet area and the garden area are not separate.
Yeah, it's where the garden starts and here's where the building ends. My apartment is right up here.
Yeah, but you may be drawing a line, but it seems to me that the area, as I'm to understand it, is all one area.
Well, it's the back of the building.
Right. It's all one area. So the dogs aren't prohibited from being in a certain area.
Well, they're behind the community.
Hold on. They're, as I'm to understand it, they're not prohibited from being in that area. Here's the other problem. If the owner of that dog is walking through the garden area, that dog is entitled to go with the owner.
No dog in the garden area. That's according to Grow and Hope. The company that goes to box sale. Company that brings that to the.
All right, Ms. Melvin, I'm going to tell you, the dogs are allowed. There's nothing that prohibits the dogs from being there.
Well, if you didn't turn on to those.
The dogs are allowed to be there.
Let me show you one picture. What's
What's it? Oh,
the sign that says dog area?
okay, but where's the boundary? No, don't just tell me, okay, I'll look at your picture, but where's the boundary? I can have an area that has 2 different uses. And I can say this is a dog area that may be opposed to another area way away. This is where you have to take your dog. You're making up your own rules. And I'm telling you, that's not the way it works.
Well, that's the way it's been working for 20-some years.
Okay, then it stops today, I guess. So here's how I'm going to resolve it. I'm going to find that I have no way of knowing other than her statement, and I would agree with Mr. Wasbury. It's a weird statement to make if somebody accuses you of something, but I don't know that I can do anything with that. She says that the food wasn't there. She admits to the water, not dirt. You can't throw things off your balcony. You got that?
Well, can we talk about how many inches of dirt? Because the wind blows dirt onto the balcony. So I sweep it. And if there's a dead mouse there, it goes down.
Just stick to the issue at hand. It's in the past. Mouse is gone. Your papers down.
Now, Miss Melvin, I'm looking to not take the most drastic action that I can take, and that is evict you. But you have to understand and not be fighting about the fact you can't throw things off your balcony.
He's basically saying you cannot throw stuff off in water.
Okay,
Anything.
okay.
No, you're not throwing the food.
I'm not.
Not throwing food in trash or. You understand why you did it. But don't do it again. We understand why you did it, but don't do it again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'm a girl the rest of the day.
Miss Melvin, do you understand that you can't throw things off the balcony?
I understand that. And I don't throw things off the balcony. If I stripped off that mouse, and the office didn't come pick up any of their mice in my apartment.
You're going.
Okay.
Also,
But here's, Miss Melvin, here's the issue. Whether it be water, whether it be a piece of paper, whether it be anything, you can't throw anything off the balcony.
Okay, no problem.
All right. The dogs, even if you think that the dog shouldn't be in that area, right?
That's the way it's always.
The whole notion of two wrongs don't make a right has to apply here. Meaning, if they're wrong in that, you can't do something wrong to try to correct it. Okay? And so what I'm going to do with this particular instance is this is going to be a warning to you. I don't want to see anything else off that balcony. Nothing. Those dogs are entitled to be there. If you wish for, say, a stricter enforcement or something different, then write a letter to the landlord. You may think they don't listen to you, that's fine, but write a letter at least. And tell them this is the problem we're having. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chalk this up to a warning. I'm not going to reinstate the case and evict her. But if you come back and something else has gone up that balcony, it's going to be a whole different story, Miss Melvin.
Well, can I put plastic or something on the balcony so it doesn't fall off by chance?
no, you can't.
You're not entitled to have anything along, you mean along the railing?
But
You mean to put a barrier along your railing on your balcony? Can't do that. All right, you just have to be careful. If you're sweeping, put it in a dustpan, throw it in the garbage.
It off the balcony.
Yeah, don't sweep it off the balcony.
Don't sweep stuff off the balcony because it'll just blow back as it falls down. It's a weird dirt on your balcony. People upstairs sweep, it falls down, blows back. She was asking where her dirt was coming from the other day. So it's just a continuing thing. You sweep your balcony, you use the dustpan. Rich, water back in with all that pass.
Oh, sir, isn't that nice?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I give you an inside story of the last year
Mom,
when this issue started?
mom.
I lost 30 pounds. I cannot sleep at night. My blood pressure is 100/200. Thanks to all this issue. I'm 84 years old. I shouldn't have to do this because I've been living there since 2006. I never had this kind of communication or anything. I contacted Hart, everybody, especially my state rep. I talked to him 2 days ago and explained the whole situation. But nobody comes and helps us. We are 170 seniors. Most of them are afraid to come out of the apartment. There is no place for them to sit. We had no heat in the laundry room for 6 months. Nobody came to fix it. We had no heat in the community room. The one unit doesn't work. It just blows cold air. Who's gonna come and help us, senior? I went to City Hall every month. In fact, he just passed a bill in Congress that elderly care seniors act, so that all this stuff coming up, and I've been bitching about. Congress made a bill.
Okay.
I showed it up waiting for date.
Okay. Well, let's hope that can correct some of it. Okay. But right now, I just need you to not throw things off the balcony. All right.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
When took it all away.
Okay.
They called it eviction. They took my 1,000 books away and they called it eviction.
Okay. All right. Anything else from plaintiff?
Oh, thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you. All right. Melvin, take care of yourself. You're not a problem.
That
we are we're in recess. I'm not done.
Back on it
This is enough for one day.
Back on it one.
So we're back on it. All right. Court stands in. All rise.
This courtroom moment starts with a simple disagreement, but quickly turns into a clash over rules and authority. A person tries to defend their actions, insisting that what they did was allowed, pointing to signs, past practice, and saying that's how it's been for 20 years. At first, it sounds like a reasonable argument, something based on experience and routine. But the judge isn't focused on the past. He's focused on what actually matters now. He asks a simple question: where's the boundary? Because in law, it's not about assumptions. It's about clarity. Where does one area end and another begin? What rule actually applies? And when the answers don't line up, the situation starts to fall apart. Then the tone shifts. The judge calls it out directly. You're making up your own rules, not out of anger, but out of principle. Because just because something has been done for years doesn't make it legal. And then comes the moment that changes everything. Then it stops today. In that instant, the past no longer matters. The court draws a clear line, and everything moving forward has to follow it. Because in the courtroom, tradition doesn't override the law. Rules do. So here's the real question. Should long-standing habits count for anything in court? Or should the law reset everything the moment it's challenged? Like and subscribe for more real courtroom moments.